Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Konstantinos Papachristou, and I welcome you to Just an IPSC shooter live streaming. Another live streaming, the first one in 2023, and I welcome you. Today, this year, we continue our travel around the world, and we're going to Israel. Today, we have the regional director of Israel, of IPSC of Israel. We're hosting Itzik Ellenboken. Itzik,
Good evening.
welcome.
Kalispera.
Kalispera. Thank you very much for being here with us to share your knowledge, your experience regarding IPSC. It's a great honor for just an IPSC shooter. And once more, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, as I told you, Nana, as we have discussed in our private conversation, I'm a big fan of your history. I have studied a lot your history, mainly the operational part. How's the weather in Israel?
The weather is good. It's a little bit cold and maybe a little bit gray day. Not a lot of sun we had today, but the weather was good. Yes, it's 15, 14 degrees, so no problem.
In Germany, I realized that a little bit cold was hot because last week it was minus 12. So as you understand, a little bit cold in Greece and Israel is summer here in Germany.
Yes, I guess so.
So shall we begin?
Yes, of course. Go ahead, please.
Okay. First of all, I believe that all our viewers, everyone from Greece, and not only from the Greek IPSC community, but everyone who's watching us or who will watch us later on, would like to know a few things about yourself, about your origins, Itzik as a person.
Okay, no problem. I was born in Israel and live in Israel all my life. I am 62 years old. I am married and I have two children, twins, age of 26, both of them, students in university. I work daily. My daily job is I work for a credit card company as a specialist for programs, and I've been working there for 37 years almost. And I live near Tel Aviv, in a city near Tel Aviv, for all of my life.
I wish you all of the best, not only for you but also for your family. You don't look like 62, so most probably the sport of IPSC give us life.
Give us energy. Yes, I was on the range today for a few hours, so
I haven't been to the range since summer, so as you understand, I'm really miss the range, the smoke of the gunpowder and so on. So, what was it that made you take up the sport of practical shooting, and how did you learn about the existence of this sport?
Well, actually, I liked everything that is connected with guns and rifles. My father and my big brother, I have a brother 7 years older than me, they had a pistol in the house, so I was always curious, and I wanted to know much more about guns handling and everything. At the age of 17, I was a volunteer on the Civil Guard of Israel, and I had M1 rifle. If you remember the M1 from Korea War, I think.
M1 Garand.
I always liked dealing with guns and rifles. I was introduced to IPSC by a friend of mine at work. It was the late 80s. I think I began IPSC course in Israel in 1990, about 32 years ago.
So one of the biggest company, one of the main companies of producing weapons is Bull, correct? And is the
Bull in Israel. Yes, of course we have the Israeli weapon IWI. They make the
Uh-huh.
Jericho, if you remember, make the rifles and everything. And we have a few more small one. Bull is when people think about Bull, yes, they make great guns. They make wonderful products today, but it's very small place. I had friends wanting to visit the place. It's like a big shop or something like this. They take three floors in a office building in Tel Aviv, but they produce very good one, very good guns.
Yes, we know that, and of course, when you have industries that support your sport, when you have two companies that are producing well-known pistols and accessories for your sport, then it's an add-on value for you. That's what I
Yes,
believe. For example, in Greece, we don't have any
yes,
company to produce pistols. We don't even have a company to produce ammunition, which is a great minus for us. So, can you give us
yes.
a small
Understand.
CV about your IPC background? You are the regional director of a country. How you be,
Yes, I
how
was
you became one, and what are your responsibilities?
actually we had the regional director for almost 20 years before I came in, and there were never elections in Israel for this job. Once I gave an regional, sorry, I was giving a range officer course, and I was talking about the difference between the rule book and the constitution. And we brought the constitution, and one of the students in the range officer course, he looked at it and he said, "There is a line here that says in the constitution that you must have uh, democratic vote to vote for regional director. Is it right?" And I look at it and I said, "Well, this is a good idea." As much as I know, in Israel, then we never had the votes for this job, and I started pushing towards having democratic votes, and I won this votes about 5 years ago. I was for 1 year off, and now I am also regional director until the end of 2024.
So to come back to the second part of the question, what are your responsibility as regional director?
In Israel, we have a different structure than not all the countries have it. As regional director, I am more responsible of the connection with IPSC International, the secretary and the president, and so on, and dealing with guests from outside of Israel, also sending Israelis to outside of Israel to matches, being the connection with the international world. Less inside Israel because we have IPSC committee, which I advise them. I sit with them at the meetings, but the IPSC committee takes charge of the day by day running around the IPSC in Israel.
So let's say that you are the Minister of Foreign Affairs for the Israeli IPSC.
Yeah, you can say it like
So,
this.
and
Yes,
the IPC committee is dealing with everything that has to do with internal, domestic. In
yes. Domestic, they run the leagues. They check everything. They have the tables of everything. They approve matches. They check the matches, and of course, I work with them daily.
they run the show, more or less. They run the show of
Yes,
Israel IPC domestically. So you said something about voting. Of course, vote is the most important thing because this is the expression of the athlete. So I always
yes.
believe that also in Greece we should vote not the president of the clubs but the athletes because the athletes
Uh,
are the voice and the soul of the sport. That's
yes, yes, but by the constitution, it's written there that uh, who is in charge of voting. The directorate is voting, not the shooters, not the club managers. But in many countries in Europe, especially, sometimes the directorate take the votes of the I don't know if directly from the shooters or the club managers. In Israel, for example, we have, I think, 22 or 23 IPSC clubs, but they didn't vote for me. I gained their trust. I got recommendation from them, but I was actually voted by the directors of the shooting federation, the Israeli Shooting Federation.
Okay. Thank you for the enlightenment. So, what is the popularity of IPSC in Israel?
In my opinion, not too popular. I think not only in Israel. We have to advertise more all over the world. In Israel, we have about 900 shooters, maybe a little bit more than 900 shooters for 9 million people. Not very much people know about this sport, and I think that is our job, not only as Israelis but everyone, to let people know about this sport and make it more popular.
Okay, you said about 900 shooters in 9 million. We are 7,200 shooters in 10 million, more or less. So, but with 900 shooters, you are a very dynamic region. You travel a lot to a lot of ranges. You participate to a lot of level 3 around Europe and especially in Greece. We will discuss it later on. So, can you tell us a few things about IPSC in Israel regarding structure, association, about the hierarchy, the backbone, and so on of your federation?
Yes, we are under the ISSF, the Shooting Federation. We are part of the Shooting Federation. Now we are having, this year, we are trying to separate by mutual interest. The Shooting Federation is okay with us opening our own federation, but it takes a lot of time. Anyway, in Israel, it's not very simple to become an IPSC shooter. You have to have 40 hours course, and it's not very cheap. It's quite expensive. This course might cost about 1,500 euro for 40 hours, and you shoot about 7, 8, maybe 900 rounds, and it takes about 2 or 3 months to learn. And when you finish the IPSC course, somebody else, an examiner comes from the Shooting Federation and give you 2 exams. They give you a practical exam of like shooting 2 stages, especially shooting on the move or something like this, and it gives you also a written exam that you should know the basics of rule book. So it's not not everybody from the street can go to be an IPSC shooter. We also to go in this course to shoot in Israel in a range, you have to have a permission from the government.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes time. It's a lot of bureaucracy. For example, I started an IPSC course in my club 3 weeks ago. The paperwork, the bureaucracy, it took about 3 months to prepare for this course.
Okay, it's not so long, but from my perspective, from what I've heard from you, I think this is the right path. Okay, you must be trained. You must get evaluated from evaluators to see what you're doing, if you are safe. And for me, and the exams, to know not only how to use your gun, but also if you know the theory around your sport, and of course discipline.
Yes.
So for my perspective, it's a very good thing. It's the right path. But I want to ask you one thing: why you want to separate your IPSC committee and from the Shooting Confederation and create your own? What is the reason?
I will give you a very straightforward answer. We pay about 200 euro per year to the federation. Take 800 shooters, multiply it by 200 euros, and you have about what? Once 160,000 euro, and we get back, I think, about expenses, our own expenses, we have less than 20%. We're having back the money. If we want to have a level three in Israel, maybe we'll have one level three in Israel, because first of all, we don't have big ranges. Secondly, for the ranges, for the Israeli Open, for the Israeli Nationals, the Shooting Federation should pay for it, and they're giving hard time. So we're giving them a lot of money, and we're getting nothing in return, actually.
So
But not only this, we want to be independent. We don't want to be checked for everybody and giving details of everything, small things we do.
So you are the cow that get milked from the shooting confederation.
Of course.
Okay.
In Israel, if I go to COVID time, there was no ISSF activities at all for 2 years, and IPSC, because we are shooting outside, we had matches and everything, and we were like 95% of all activities in the federation, but we get about 10% of money back invested in IPSC.
That makes sense. So, from my perspective, it's a good thing to handle your own money, to handle your own show, because we are completely different than the other shooting sports. We don't have nothing to do with the clay. We don't have nothing similar with the others. So, for example, in Greece we are 7,000, so you understand that we are paying a lot of money. So it's much better for us to handle our own store, let's say, simply. And I believe it was a good choice.
Look, I'll tell you something, Kostas. For many years it worked okay, but and I see also in France that tens of thousands of shooters in France, they're under the shooting federation, and they live good, because not only they're getting their cut in money, but they're also getting their a little bit of independence by having their own decisions about things. But if it's starting to be that you cannot have decision to decide about simple things about running the sport, then we have problem. And anyway, the shooting federation itself decided to separate, not us. We always wanted to be independent, but 2 years ago they decided that we give them too much headache. We are taking a lot of time of the secretary and the manager to work for us, and they decide, okay, you can leave.
Okay, I think that I'm here this story for the second time in my life. I don't know. I had a similar story from somewhere else. Anyway, so the divorce was peaceful.
It will be, but it's not final yet. I think we have time until the end of our season. It's like August, September this year. We will be ready for separation.
Sometimes when you don't want to have a divorce concerning the shooting confederation PSC, sometimes you have to give autonomy, meaning that
yes,
IPSC
autonomy. If we had autonomy, Costas, if we had autonomy, we will stay there for sure. Yeah. We are not enemies. We are not fighting each other. We live together for more than 40 years together. But if we had our autonomy and running our own expenses, it would be enough. We will stay there.
And you will not have any complaints from the shooters.
No,
you will run your own show, so you're gonna do your own mistakes without blame all the others. Anyway, but as I told you before, it's something that I have heard before from somewhere else about the whole situation, the whole status that you're living in Israel. So, how an individual in Israel can become an IPSC athlete? What are the necessary preconditions? For example, here in Greece, we have to be in a club, stay at the club at least 1 year, to have 6 matches, and then to request for our weapon. What is the status in Israel?
The status in Israel as I said, you start by making a 40-hour course and you have to be checked and okayed by the government that you don't have a criminal record or mental record. After you go to the 40-hour course and make the exam, in Israel it's very, very long and exhausting thing. You have to shoot for 3 years, at least 5 matches a year before you get your first permit.
5 years, I think it's 3 years, you said.
3 years, and every year at least
5 matches.
5 matches, at least 5 matches per year to get your sports license. But some people that have a gun license, they have private gun license because they have other reason to have pistol. They can have it from the first moment.
They have license for concealed carrying. Yeah.
Concealed carry.
Makes life easier. I know. And anyway, so 3 years is a long time. I think.
Yes, too long.
It's too long.
Too long because in those 3 years, you cannot. Usually, you cannot own your own gun. Sometimes, few clubs can keep guns, so you can buy your gun and keep it at the club. But otherwise, you shoot with what you can. So it's not really a sport value when you have to shoot with, let's say, security Glocks or something like this.
And in 3 years, you don't have any improvement as an athlete because you stay. You don't use your own gun in order to become better. Because
yes, only I think maybe 4 or 5 clubs of 22 clubs have a license to keep guns. Those clubs can keep your guns, but you cannot take it home. You bring it after the match. You bring it to the club again.
Okay. So, as an athlete of IPSC in Israel, do you have the right to reload your own ammo? What are the rules for getting a gun? You said 3 years, so I skip this question. And I stay at the reload. Can you reload?
We are not allowed to reload. Like we are like Greece. We cannot reload in Israel. You cannot. It's not legal, and you cannot buy components, and you don't have the machine. It's not legal, and the cost of ammunition, unfortunately, is very high.
Mm-hmm.
It's higher than in Greece, much higher because we use only factory imported. As you said, we have industry of guns. We have industry of ammunition, but all the IWI ammunition goes to America, and we have to bring from Italy, Fiocchi. We have to bring. Magtech from Brazil, and the Israeli ammunition goes to America.
Yeah, because the main consumer is America, and because of the Democrats, they were afraid that they're going to lose their guns, so they stocked a lot of ammo and a lot of weapons.
Yes, we had an increase of almost 50% from start of COVID. The prices of ammunition in Israel are now 50% more than 2.5 years ago.
And imagine that Russia, which is also an ammo manufacturer, is out of the market. So it's a huge gap. So I think that unfortunately the ammo will become more expensive in the nearest future.
The ammo is becoming a problem in some places in Europe because of the lead contents, you know. But I'm glad that we don't have this problem in Israel. But we are not allowed to reload. This is what we have in this place. Concerning IPSC, we cannot have IPSC open 9 major because we are not allowed to have 919 major. So we just find it in Europe.
Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, if you don't have your own ammo, if you don't reload your own ammo, I think it's very difficult to become better, to become better and to move forward in IPSC because you have to adjust your gun and your recoil, your hand in every new industrial ammo that you're using.
Yes, of
So
course. You are right.
it's a big handicap with the other European shooters or other European countries that they have the capability, they have the possibility to reload their own ammo. I don't
Yes.
know, and I don't think it's cheaper to reload your own ammo. It's because
It's not simple.
it's not simple. It is not cheap.
Make, it's not cheap and it's not simple. But I have friends in Europe that reload. I sometimes buy ammunition from those guys when I travel to matches. But it's not cheap and it's very complicated. It's a science by itself to make good bullets.
And of course, imagine blowing a whole apartment trying to create your own to produce your own bullets.
Yes.
Big,
And explain your wife that you need a place for the machine.
yeah, that's the most difficult part. So we said that you need at least 3 years to take your gun, 5 years to take your license and your gun, five matches every year, meaning 15 matches in 3 years. So what are the requirements for keeping your gun and to keep your identity as an athlete?
Uh, it's also you need at least 4 matches a year to be counted as active shooter. At least four matches a year.
And you said you're paying an average to an amount of money every year for your IDs to your confederation.
We pay about yes about 150 euro. But this is only for the federation. You pay for the club also. You pay for the range also. You pay for the matches also. It's not cheap. This one of the reasons this sport is not very popular, but because if you real train once a week, if you're coming to train once a week or twice a month, and you buy 150 rounds and you go to a match and you need 150 rounds more, and you pay, our prices are high, and you pay for the club, you pay for the range, you pay for the federation. It's not a cheap sport. Not everybody can afford it,
So
unfortunately.
it becoming a sport of the elite. Because if you need to spend for example, in Greece, as I can speak only for myself, I go to the range only every Sunday because then I got time to go, and I spend an average of €100, more or less. I don't think
Yes.
that my wife is listening, but you know, so. An average of €100. So imagine that in a month I need 400. There are a lot of money. There are a lot of money, and you have to pay also to keep your ID yearly to the federation, an amount of money to pay the club. So that's why we don't have. I'm talking about Greece. I think that we don't have a lot of young new shooters. So and we see, and I don't know if you see all the same people when you come to Greece at the ranges.
Yes, yes, it's. I see it, but I must be fair and say something good about our federation. That juniors, we don't have juniors. We don't have nobody before age of 16 can shoot in Israel. But our federation don't take money from juniors until age of 21. You don't pay the federation, so you save some money. And as I said, sometimes people are trying to get them into the sport. They say no, it's rich man's sport, and I said no, not really.
Not really.
Because if you have a small boat at the marina, a small boat. And if you are really avid cycling, you have a bicycle. Sometimes bicycle cost thousands of euro. And if you want to travel in the desert with your jeep, with 4x4, so it's also expensive. A lot of sports are expensive. This you can start IPSC with 400 euro Glock, and you don't have to have an Infinity for 5,000 euro, if you know what I mean.
It depends on your budget. If you have money and you need to more and more and more, you can buy whatever you like. But everything right now, all sports are industrialized, meaning that you need to pay for them. Even if you
Yeah.
walk, you have to buy the proper shoes for walking. That costs a lot of money. You have to wear the t-shirt, the correct t-shirt, so on. So all the sports are industrialized right now and become, and every hobby needs money. So for moving on, what role do clubs play in Israel's IPSC? What is the role of your clubs?
Uh, you cannot be a member of the federation. You are a member of the club. The club register you in the federation. The club doing everything for you. If you want to go to a match, you are not registering directly to a match. Your club gets certain slots for every match, and you are registered by from the club. Club are for this reason are almost everything. Club manager, he makes the decisions for you. He registered you or not to the match, and he is the connection between the shooter and the federation.
Okay. So, except of a shooter, you are also a range officer.
Yes.
And I had a lot of good things about you, about your character, about your professionalism from
Thank you.
my Greek colleagues, from the Greek IPSC shooters. So, what is the process of selecting a range officer and their training in Israel?
In Israel, you must be at least 2 years shooter because before you go to the range officer course. And also we have something very, very, very unique to Israel. I think it's only in Israel. There is nothing like this in other places in the world, that you have to have government certified as certification as a shooting instructor or a shooting inspector, because otherwise you cannot give orders of shooting in the range. So before being a range officer doing the course, you have to get license for shooting inspector or shooting instructor, and those courses take a lot of time and a lot of money too.
So, it's not easy to become through seminars and so on.
No, but after you have your shooting instructor or shooting, you have the papers from the government, you do the normal IPSC course, which is like the level 1 IROA, which sometimes we give it in Hebrew. All of this is the same. Afterwards, it's the same. Like everywhere, like IROA classes and everything.
Is it compatible to be a shooter, a competitive shooter, and at the same time to be a
Afford to be a range officer. Maybe you can be a range officer at the level 1 or level 2 matches, but for the big matches like level 3 and more, if you want to be a top shooter, if you want to succeed, there is no chance that you can be also range officer and a top shooter. This is what I see.
Yeah, yeah, totally understood. You became a range officer. You are a range officer right now. What kind
Yes.
of means are you using in Israel to update the range officers' knowledge? Are you conducting, for example, seminars at regular intervals for the update? Use it.
Yes, actually we have seminars. We had it on Zoom or on the internet at the time of COVID, but they are open seminars. You can go the way with 2-3 times a year, and whenever we have updates of new rule book or something like this, or we found a few problems during the year on matches, we collect them and we save the data and we give seminars 2-3 times a year. It's not something that you are obligated to have, but we recommend, and of course we will elect the range officer that are updated, that go to seminars. We will elect them first to be range officers in our matches.
So the next question will be about your travels around Europe, not only Europe, to Greece and other places. But before we do that, I want you to see a video. So that was a small break in order to see that in Greece you can combine beautiful places with very competitive matches all over Greece, from Thessaloniki, Korythos, Chania, Rhodos, and many other places. So it's a very good. Greece is a very good country, not only because I'm Greek, but because of the weather conditions that very compatible for our sport. You can combine tourism with your sport. You can do a lot of things. So back to our question. You have traveled a lot. You have competed in many places around the world. Which match made a special impression on you about?
First of all, you say I travel a lot. My wife say I travel a lot. In my opinion, I don't travel too much. I have to travel more.
But a small pause. I think that all women around the world are coming from the same factory. They have the same factory settings, and they have the same opinions. I don't know how, and I don't know why.
Anyway, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the matches in Greece. I don't remember when was the match that Yannis Anastasopoulos made in Malakassa. It was about 8 or 9, 10 years ago. It was my first time in shooting in Greece, coming to be a range officer. And then I made a lot of matches in Corinthos, in Rhodos, in Saloniki. I like them all very much. Like to take the example of the range in Saloniki is a very beautiful place, and also, of course, the atmosphere and the friendship of all the guys there. But in my opinion, the most impressive match in my life was in Florida. Was the World Shoot in 2014. A World Shoot in Florida. Maybe because it was my first time being in a level 5. But I will remember this for the example as the best shooting experience of my life.
So Florida it is. The World Shoot.
Yes.
Okay. How was your feeling? I've never participated to a level 5 match. So how's the feeling? How is the feeling to participate for your first match, for your first time, and it's such a big match, and it's such a competitive match?
It's very exciting, very, very exciting. I give you an example. The first time I was there in Florida, I also took all my days off that I could travel. I stayed on the range, and I take photos of the logistics to learn how to run a big match. I went to see how the quartermaster dealing with the stuff. I went to see the stats, office to see how this dealing. Uh, it's very exciting. The opening ceremonies that we had, like in Florida, was exceptional. Also, if you saw the video of the World Shoot in Thailand,
Yes.
also was beautiful, beautiful and very well organized match, level 5.
For me, traveling and participating in big matches around the world is value for money, because you're getting experiences that you can use to your own country and to improve not only your matches but from facilities, accommodations, whatever you like. So this,
Yes.
for me, is value for money.
I tell you something else, Costas. I always tell Israeli shooters that starting to advance, I said you must go at least once to travel to another place to matches, because we have a lot of restrictions inside the ranges. We don't have a lot of wide angles ranges. We also usually we shoot only to the front, and we don't have low because everything is paved. We have asphalt
Uh-huh.
on the floor. So I always tell, if you want to advance, you should go outside of Israel and you start. Will be your real IPSC school, shooting in Europe, shooting in Greece, shooting in Czech Republic, in Serbia. Very good places to learn how IPSC should be.
Copy that. So, which country do you think is the most advanced in our sport and why? All of my guests are saying USA. Let's keep USA and go to the second one.
I'm not sure. I can think maybe USA, but the United States have, of course, hundreds of thousands of shooters. You're shooting USPSA, but what did we see at the last European Championship and last World Shoot? We saw the Philippines guys taking a lot of the trophies, first places in a lot of categories and divisions. Philippines is investing a lot of money at the youth, at the young generation of shooters. Other in Europe, you see, of course, if we take Spain, for example, with a lot of very good shooters in Spain, very top shooters in Spain, in France, some Scandinavian countries, you see them really advancing.
And I think Italy right now is arising after the lift of the restriction.
Also a very good example.
After
Yes,
the lift of the restriction concerning the magazines and the 9 millimeters bullets.
yes,
So Philippines also, as I can see from the media, from Facebook and so on, they have a very powerful and very dynamic community. Also, they
yes.
do a lot of adjustments, their own adjustments, industrial adjustments to weapons, and they're quite famous for that.
Yes, they're famous for that, and as much as I know, they have support from the Senate, from the politician, from the government. IPSC is very have a lot of strong help from government and sponsorship for young shooters. This is why you can see them advancing.
So most probably one of the prime minister, or members of the parliament are big fans of IPAC. That's
I guess so. Or maybe he's a shooter. I
yeah,
don't know.
but most probably. So you said before about advertising. We don't advertise a lot our sport. Let's say not about the word IPSC. Let's talk about a country's IPSC. What do you think are the preconditions to boost Israel's IPSC, for example?
Well, actually, it's always only the advertising and good. If we have good examples, let's say if you have a shooter that achieved a good place, we had two shooters in World Shoot. One took the second place of super senior production. One won the shoot off. Those things go to media. Those we put it they go to meet the mayor, they go to, and we put it on media. Those things are very good for us. So you must have, you should have chance to promote the good shooters if you have example, or do something like active women shooters. Today is very popular to have, of course, everybody that have the same chances as young children shooting, women shooting, family shooting, showing the positive things about the sport, showing the friendship that we have. Like you see people coming and hugging before they go to shoot, and they drink and they have fun together. And we maybe we can do it. It's not like a very competitive sport. It's a very friendly sport also.
So just to give you the answer, we have the answer from the Philippines. Why it's so popular, the sport? The answer is that their president and his son are IPSC shooters.
Okay.
So, so
Okay. You now you know who to vote for.
yes, 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 yes. So yeah, we have and we have. It's a period of elections for us. For me, it's advertise, use the media. I have said that many times before. It's free, and everyone right now can provide a picture or a video in order to show to the people that this is our sport. Okay, it's very competitive, and you have to promote. You must have a holistic approach of your sport, not only shooting, about the mentality. Because when you are an IPSC shooter, you must have discipline. You must have strategy. You don't just run down the range and shooting bullets. Okay, you need strategy. You have to focus. You have to discipline yourself. You have to come up with a game plan. So all these things are very good ingredients for a man or a person to become a member of our sport. And we have to promote these things, not only the bullets on the paper or on the metal. We have to promote the whole mentality.
Yes, of course, it's a very good thing to do.
So, do you think that IPSC is expanding worldwide? Because I don't think so.
Look, I was sitting at the assembly of the IPSC in Thailand, and the regional directors give us numbers, and we see it expanding. But I think that COVID for the last 2 years stopped a little bit. If usually regions have faster and bigger percentage of growth, we have it less. But I think still that IPSC in the world is growing. If we take if you can take a specific region, a specific country, and you will see it usually grows if they don't have specific problems, political or problems that prohibited person from holding. Like we have new regions. We have from the Arab world, the Emirate, Kuwait. You see shooters from Kuwait. You see from the Emirates. You see from Saudi Arabia. Very welcome to see them. If those places will start growing, then we will have a lot of more of IPSC shooters.
Thank you very much for the info, because I had a different impression. Thank you very much about that. So, is there anything as Isaac that you want to change in IPSC?
Look, what I think we should improve in IPSC is the connection between the presidential part, between the IPSC international board or offices. I speak with shooters, I speak with club managers, and they feel that we have two levels: level of shooters and the level of management, and they're not very harmonic together. So I think that IPSC as the management should maybe, I think they have about some plans about having like maybe shooters committee, not only managers committee or I don't know whatever, shooters committee, or involve more the regional director in the daily decisions of IPSC. So we work together combined, not shooters, regions, and then
Managers.
IPSC
Okay.
International.
Copy that. It makes sense, and it will be a very good initiative to create a committee from shooters around the world who are world champions. They are the ones who are feeling the sport.
Yes.
So, and they have the best knowledge about it. So next question. You were at the World Shoot in Thailand. What are your impressions, and if you have any feedback from other athletes that participated in this World Shoot?
The World Shoot in Thailand was exceptional, very nice. Everything was, the organization and logistics were 100% good. I think that if you take 30 stages, they ran 30 stages, about 1,500 shooters, and I don't think they had one malfunction that made a reshoot in this place. The stages were designed beautifully. Everything, the logistic was fine. I mean, everything was very good, except maybe not everybody can do with the heat. It was very hot and humid. Otherwise, it was a perfect World Shoot.
That's nice to hear. And I saw a lot, more or less, all the stages were, some of them were very hard. Anyway, from my experience, everything is hard, more or less. So now let's go to the European Handgun Championship that will take place Corinthos. I have to admit that my origins are from Corinthos. I'm a Corinthian, so as you understand, I have special relations with that place. It's my country, more or less. So Corinthos will be the host of the European Handgun Championship. From your experience, what is your advice to the organizers, Yannis and Stathis and all the and Iosifidis and all the guys that are working to make it happen?
I am almost 100% confident that you don't need my advice. What makes a good competition is good stages, good logistics, build the right things, the parking, give the places a lot of places right European. I don't think anything I can add and give them any advice. I know they know the job.
That's good to hear. Now we're moving to our next level, which is to talk about Greek IPSC. And I would like you to discuss a few things about Greek IPSC. What is your opinion? Because sometimes from the guy who is outside of our community, you may learn a lot of things about us. So what are your impressions generally about IPSC in Greece?
IPSC in Greece has a very, very big potential because you have excellent ranges. You have many ranges. As I saw in your video, only in Creta you have at least 3 big ranges that can have level 3. But there's something that I can only be envied because we don't have a real big range in Israel. Everything is good. The hospitality, the atmosphere. You are never tense. When you go to a match in Greece, it's always easy. Everything is ola kala. Everything is good. There's no problem.
Yes.
So, and of course, people like the European coming from Germany, coming from Austria or Scandinavia, from them, they have the beaches. They have a lot of sightseeing to do. And I think that we only can advance. As I said, Yannis Anastopoulos in Malakasa gave a great match, and we have in Greece you have a lot. You are very blessed with good range officers, very professional and very polite range officers. Because I've been working with a lot of European and other range officers, and the Greek officers are not only very professional, but what is special about them, that they are very nice in their character and very polite to the shooters. And let's say if you have the best stage, but the range officer doesn't treat you the right way, you will not remember the best that it
Yes.
was a
Yeah.
great stage. You will remember the range
His
officer.
his,
So you
his
have,
voices and his insults.
yes. So this is something I also teach my Israeli range officer. I tell them, when you go to Greece, see how they behave and behave like them. Be friendly. Be friendly to the shooters. Don't be bossy. Be friendly like the Greek are.
You said something about Crete. Crete has three big ranges that they can conduct big matches level 3. So our goal to create someday to create a 10 days match that will include all three ranges. So imagine that at the first 2 days you will shoot at Chania, take a break, visit the beautiful sightseeing of Chania, then 2 days shooting in Rethino, 1 day off visiting the sightseeing in Rethino, and then 2 days of shooting in Ierapetra. It will be a 10
Okay,
days of fun.
when can I register? Can you register me?
This is our goal. I don't know. Someday we must do it. It will be something different from everything else that so far a shooter have seen. Anyway, what do you think? You said about range officers, Greek range officers, polite. What do you think about Greek IPSC athletes?
There are very few very good shooters that I met several times in Greece and in other places. Uh, this is something that shows me that somebody good, at least few people, you have good trainers. Somebody trains good shooters in Greece. Uh, I didn't, unfortunately, I never saw great athletes achieving European championship first places, but I saw them in teams. I think you have some trophies in teams, and if you train and you have such a big potential, and good trainers and good range officers and good club managers, and everything is running good, I think it will take a few times, and you will see better shooters, and you will see them winning again in many places in Europe and in the world.
If you compare our ranges in Greece with the ranges in Israel, what are the differences? You said that you have small ranges. You can shoot only forward.
No, it is nothing something you can compare. I give you an example. Our level 2 is usually in my club is indoor. You cannot breathe indoor. You stay indoor, and you can shoot only for the front in the wall in front of you. No shooting to the side. Nothing. We don't have fresh air. We don't have big. This is the reason I say to all the Israelis: you want to see something else. You want to see how IPSC should be. Come to Greece.
Is there a possibility to change that? To create
I'm not sure, because I tell you why. I tell you why, Kostas. Because the property, the land, the land itself in Israel is very
it
expensive.
makes sense.
It was not economical to have big ranges in Israel, and there are only big ranges for the police and army, and they don't want
share.
to give us permission to use them. So we are. Last year we had the level 3. We did it on two ranges. First day you shoot six stages. You go to the other one and you shoot 6 stages, because we don't have even one civil range that can have 12 stages.
Okay. So we live in a paradise here in Greece. So,
Yes.
as a foreign athlete, do you see any difficulties in participating in our matches regarding national rules and restrictions?
Uh, there is no problem for me. I come with my pistol, and there is no problem. Even though I don't have a European gun license, everything. I must say a good word to your federation that is dealing with the paperwork. You only fill the form once, and you get everything ready. And also, last year in Corinthos, we had a problem with one shooter coming with the wrong gun to the airport. Everybody in the Greek Federation, the Greek police, did it in a matter of hours. They found the right. They did him. They prepared new papers. This is something exceptional that I don't think we have example for those things. So there is a goodwill not only from the shooters and the organizer of the match. Also, the federation is doing a good job. The police doing a good job. The customs in the airports are very friendly. They're not giving us any problem. You go to customs with the Israeli gun license or your invitation, everything. After 10, 15, 20 minutes, you're out with a blessing.
Very good to hear. These are our positives. So, after 1 hour, reaching the end of our conversation, what would be your advice to all the shooters that are watching us or may watch us later on?
I'll tell you something that I also saw in Greece. A lot of politics. People are dealing with politics in the shooting. Forget the politics. Enjoy your shooting. Come to a match. Meet your friends. Shoot together, and don't try to make wars and politics. Just have fun.
That's one of the best advices I ever had in my life concerning our sport. Thank you very much about that. It's a great honor for me to have
It's a pleasure.
Itzik
It's a pleasure.
Ellenboken. Did I pronounce it well?
Yes,
More
yes,
or
yes.
less. So, as countries, we have a lot of similarities. Thank you very much, and Brera.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Kalimera.
So, first of all, I would like to thank you for watching us. I wish the best wishes to the Greek shooters concerning Epiphany Day, and I wish you a very good night and double alpha.